We're at 0. I need to start. It's Andrew's fault I'm late today. Actually, you know what? I have no one else to blame but myself. I can't always blame other people. I'll blame myself. It's my fault today. Although Andrew was distracting me. We were on another call trying to talk about our streaming ideas and what we're going to do and what we're going to stream coding-wise soon. So we were talking about important, related stuff, but we got a bit distracted. How are you all doing? It is Monday morning. How was your weekend? And I hope it was good. I hope you managed to do some of your side projects, your side hustles, as well as get some rest. Really important. I didn't do a quarter of what I had planned to do this weekend. I had a lovely list of things. I didn't get 25% of them done. I mean, I'm lucky if I got kind of 10% of them done because I got a lot of rest, which I thought was really important. It was a hard week last week, but this week should be a lot easier. And so I've got lots of exciting things planned for us. That's me and you this week. And how is your week looking so far? Awesome to have the usual suspects here. We have, I think, Vamsi was first, then we had Jennifer, then Azing, then Luke. Awesome. And Jose is here too. Awesome to have you all here. Hope everyone's doing well. D-Raj is here as well. The usual suspects. That's awesome. So how is the audio today? My new mic is arriving tomorrow. So hopefully tomorrow's live stream, probably not Wednesday's live stream, will be a lot juicier and a lot more punchier sound. We will see. I still need to work on the colors a bit. I try to tweak them a little bit now, but when it comes to YouTube, it looks a bit kind of bit weird. Andrew is here, and I can blame Andrew now that Andrew is here. So yes, I wanted to start like at least on time, like spot on time, and have the countdown timer like 2 minutes beforehand. But Andrew's fault. He kept me on another call. And actually, I have a confession to make. I have to be open and honest with you all. I have to stop the stream a few minutes before 2 because Andrew and me have a client call at 2 o'clock. So I will need to stop a few minutes early. But I think, I've got a few kind of, minutes in the bank, right? From last week, we ran over a few times. So I think I've got a few minutes in the bank. But it's awesome to have you all here. Please do share in the chat if you are here, and also let us know how your weekend was. Was it successful? Did you achieve what you thought you were going to achieve? Hope you did some open source. I don't think I did any open source this weekend. But maybe I did without even realizing. I know I did a pull request this morning for the Svelte framework. Someone was sharing that in a Discord channel, and I went and had a look at it. I didn't like I thought I could improve. I didn't like. It's very subjective. I thought I could improve the text on the homepage when it does things differently to other frameworks like React and Vue. So I renamed that to say other libraries like React and frameworks like Vue. So I just sent that pull request in. Let's see what happens. Always send in the pull request. Definitely worth it. So what have I missed in the chat? It's the week. Oh, I'm not sure, Vamsi, what you mean, but today is Monday. Let's hope it's going to be a successful week. How can I help you have a successful week? And hopefully someone else in the community can help you as well. It's about the community. It's about us, not just me. I'm here to start the conversation, and then between us we can cover all the bases. But I hope everyone is doing well from their various time zones. Jennifer has got up so early again. I'm very impressed. And evening for people who are further east, like D-Raj, and who was from Australia. That must be quite late in the evening. I can't remember who was in Australia. So, yes, what are your plans for this week? So the weekend's happened. We all know it's happened. What are your plans for this week? I know my plans. So I have a client meeting this afternoon. I'm talking about potentially a new project. I finished off the last project, but I'm going to do one more day this week with my previous client to give them a hand, just to do a handover, write some docs, etc. and so forth. And then the rest of the week, I have got some crazy ideas, lots of live streaming. I know Andrew wants to do some live streaming with me as well on Code Mortals, so we'll do some on that on the gaming platform, which he's done a great job on it. The live chat is really epic using Angular and Firebase. And I've got some videos that I want to create as well. So I had lots of suggestions from people. I do want to create those videos as well. So it's going to be a busy week, lots of content. Let's see how it goes, and I'll keep you all posted and let you know how my progress is going. I did plan to record a video this morning on Git. However, like I said, Andrew distracted me, not just being late for this stream, but also for my video. So Andrew, it's all your fault. It's always Andrew's fault. I mean, this is why I like working with Andrew, because I can just blame him, so it's fine. And yes, so I will probably do that tomorrow morning now. I will create a Git video on Git. Andrew has some on his YouTube channel as well, but I want to do more of these are the commands you need to know, and just kind of simple short video on that. And a lot of people have been asking for GitHub as well, so I will be doing that, especially on adding different remotes, how to keep your fork up to date, and so forth. Is this week for Ionic? Vamsy is on the list. Where's my list of paper? I have it here. Look, I don't know if you can read this. Probably not. Oh, because it's probably trying to do green screen on it. Just realised I left the green screen settings on, so that's my bad. So my glasses and my watch might look a bit weird. Yeah, the watch holes look kind of a bit weird. So yeah, Ionic is on the list. I have literally 5 things on the list, 6 things. This is in no particular order, but I have Git, Angular and Material, RxJS, Ionic, GitHub Actions, and Discord bot. Sort of like Hello World with a Discord bot. I thought would be quite interesting. And as I've done that, I thought I'd actually do that. But it's in no particular order. So I know Git, GitHub, Ionic are really sought after. Everyone seems to be really keen on those. So I plan to do those soon. So with the Ionic one, Vamsy, how much detail do you want me to go in? It'd be quite interesting. Maybe do some examples with some components. And like Hello World, and then maybe like a list and some menus or something like that. Is that something you're looking for? Or would you want more depth in that? Let me catch up with the chat. The chat has been busy and loving this. You're the one that said install Windows, buy a new phone, install vMix, set this, change that, and you blame me for all of this. Yeah, but I thought you were going to do it and then tell me when it's all done. That's what usually happens, right? I usually go make a coffee or tea. I don't have any coffee. And I come back and Andrew's done everything. That's what I was kind of hoping for. But it will make our streams look a lot better. We've still got some tweaks to do. I'm going to find all the free cloud I can, buy machines on each, and make them play nicely together. Jennifer, that sounds cool. It sounds exciting. I think lots of them do kind of a free kind of hosting to begin with. So yeah, let us know how that goes. All Ubuntu's I'm going to find used computer this week. Awesome. That sounds good. Keeping you busy. And Jose says, yes, Discord bot. I haven't worked on the Discord bot since last Sunday, so not yesterday, a week ago. But I do want to get some coding on that this week. I do want to have that bot up and running, even if it's only doing a few little things. I have an issue on GCP at the moment with the bot. It starts to run, but then it stops immediately. I'm not sure why. So I need to look into that and see why. Andrew, I'm looking at you, or anyone else who can help me with some GCP. And we can do it on the live stream if you want. That would be cool. I have a question for Jennifer. Ubuntu, Windows, Drupal, Twitter. Okay, I'll let D-Raj and Jennifer discuss that in the chat. Andrew and me have been discussing that in depth already. I was telling him to dual boot his Mac, and then in the end I said, "Did you know what? Just get a streaming PC. It makes so much more sense." And then you get to have lots of awesome stuff like this, right? Then you need lots of screens and lots of buttons and various things to do. So what about everybody else, right? So what has everyone else got planned for the week? What are your challenges that you have, and what are the goals, and what are the successes you've had? It's Monday already. Some people it's the beginning of Monday, some people at the end. But what are your plans? It'd be really good for other people to see that, and to see when we chat tomorrow at tomorrow's live stream if you succeeded or not. After I nailed mini Linux quiz Eddie threw down the other day, I was more of this. Thank you very much. The Code Mortals gaming quiz night on Tech Stuff had a Linux round on Friday, and it was. I think everyone did quite well on that round. I'll make it a bit harder next time, maybe. So it was good fun. Yeah, it was definitely an interesting round. We enjoyed it too. So we will see. If anyone has any suggestions for rounds as well, let us know. We could do a round on Angular, maybe a round if someone wants to submit a round on React or something like that. And so we're 10 minutes in. Time always runs away with us. So I'm really keen to help people who are watching, right? It's not just, as Andrew calls it, the Eddie Show. I don't just want it to be about me kind of chatting away all the time. So I'm really keen to know how I can help people that are watching. Obviously, my biggest suggestion is always put yourself out there on socials, but not just the personal side, but also the technical side, right? Share what you're working on as we discuss things here, and obviously contribute to open source regularly, that will really help. And I think then that way you've got your portfolio automatically kind of building up for you without you even realize, or your personal brand, as a lot of people like to call it. Jose says, I'm interested in learning out more about WebRTC this week. Nice. So Andrew and me, when we've done live streams before, he's been connecting to me via WebRTC using a vMix call, that the software we use. But that's limited at, I think, 720 or 1080 quality. So now we're going to try and do a vMix to vMix direct call where we can get a lot better quality. Obviously, Andrew needs to get a better quality camera as well. Abuzir, good to have you here. React. Okay, does that mean you're gonna you want to do the React quiz, or you're gonna come up with the React questions? Let us know. So we are keen to have one guest round each week. So if anyone does want to do a technical round on a particular subject, then maybe this coming Friday, we should have like a Vue round, an Angular round, and a React round. But then that's very JavaScript orientated, so we should probably spread that out, actually, come to think about it. I was just thinking out loud. So goal was to learn a bit about data structures and algorithms. Success was watch the whole series of one of Suits in a day. Wow, that's impressive. But here's a goal, you succeeded. Also, Ktor seems cool to build web apps. Oh, I'm not sure of Ktor. I'll have to have a look into that one. Nice. I'll have to have a look at that and see. Yeah, so my goal is to create more videos this week. I think I'm doing a lot of live streams. Yes, a lot of them during the week are kind of me chatting and coding live streams, which I'm going to fix this week. But also I'm keen to do, so you can hold me to this, more coding videos. That's my goal. Definitely do some more coding videos. Like I said, I could do a Git one quite quickly, GitHub one, Angular one quite quickly, GitHub Actions probably quite quickly. Ionic, I might be a bit slower. I might have to look things up. But you know, I could always do that in a live stream. It does show you that everyone needs to look things up in the documentation, and don't have all the answers. So, yeah, who else do we have here? Thanks everyone for the thumbs up. We've got 6 likes. If you are watching, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Or as Jennifer always says, hit the thumbs down button twice. Which always makes me chuckle. So at the weekend, I did start, my glue did arrive for soundproofing the room a little bit more. So I haven't put any more on this side. Actually, out of camera, I have done some. So I do plan to finish the ceiling off this week as well. I am worried that if I do it before a live stream, and I live stream every day at lunchtime, right, to chat with all of you, that it might fall on my head during a live stream as I stick it on the ceiling. So that's a bit of a concern of mine. So I might do it in the evening, therefore, if it does fall, it would have fallen hopefully before the following stream the next day, because that would be quite embarrassing if I'm sitting here and it kind of clunks me on the head. So let's see how that goes. So that's one of my challenges, again, I have this week to do. So we'll see, and hopefully it helps with the audio. With the new mic arriving tomorrow, it should be good. I'll probably install Linux over Windows next. I don't need Windows. Yeah, I mean, if you don't need it, I mean, sometimes it helps having it as a second boot, potentially, for any particular software you need, like Photoshop, etc. But otherwise, yeah, just Linux straight up is good. Give it the whole it's only disk space you lose because you're only running one at any one time. If you're running it within VM, it's very different. I suppose you could always run Windows within a VM, but again, it's not very nice to use any applications within a virtual machine. But if you can, spare a bit of a hard disk, Windows probably needs like 100 gigs or something. If you can spare that, then it makes sense to have it there just in case. But if not, yeah, just if you're using Linux most of the time, then it's also fine. So that sounds like it's going to keep you busy. I know with a lot of the challenges that we all have, that we've all mentioned, it is quite a time sink. If I'm looking back to, 15 years, 20 years ago, when I first started playing with Linux, probably like 20 years ago, I would just spend days, evenings and nights, and it's just such a great way to learn, just to play and all the rest. It is really important. Okay, now I'm doing it very differently. I'm doing it with setting up my streaming system to make it even better. I'm doing it on my open source project. There's always something. We're all quite inquisitive and quite creative, and I think that's what keeps us going, keeps us motivated, is always inquisitive, trying to push the boundaries, trying to learn more, and then the community helps with that as well. That's why I love the conversation and chat, see what people are working on, because it kind of inspires me. If I see people learning more and pushing more, it inspires me to do more. Then I love that kind of, I wouldn't say competition, but that healthy, I don't know, healthy, friendly. It's not even competition because we're learning different things. But I think, if other people are pushing themselves forward, then I'm keen to push myself forward more. And I know I've got quite rusty actually in some of the tools I haven't used in a while, like RxJS. And when I was using it the other day with Andrew, it made me think, actually, I haven't looked at this in I don't know, maybe a month or something, and there's so many methods that I forgot, or functions that I forgot that are available. I have to go look it up. And when I went to look it up, actually, the plus side was I saw there were new features available that could help. So I think it's always important to kind of have that is T-shaped, I think they call it, go wide across lots of things, but don't go deep into them. So go wide, understand what's available, and then in one or two things go really deep. And we have spoken about this before. I think that's really, really important. Question for Eddie. Thank you, Jose, for putting a cube in front. That really does help, so thank you. Let me bring that up on the screen. Click some magic, and hopefully that works. Still don't know why your profile picture doesn't come through. Oh, wait a second. That's the wrong question. Let me... I need to fix that. My bad. See, always technical issues. I think I need to just make a few little changes and we should be good to go. Interesting. Maybe not. I don't know why that's not happy with that. Okay, I can't bring it up on the screen, so apologies for that. I will just read it out. So, Eddie, could you explain how secrets are hidden in Angular app? For example, the whole app doesn't have a server, only Angular, and you need to interface with an API using a key. Can you hide it? Great question, Jose. I'd love to bring that up on the screen, but unfortunately I can't for some reason. Again, I'll blame Andrew for this. I don't know why it's his fault, but it is. You can't, because it's a client-side app with React or Angular. You can't. You would need to have a proxy, some middleware in between where you could pick up the request and add any tokens that you would need or secret keys and then pass it on. You can't. So what we do is when we're building our UI, we do have secrets on CI that bundles it up into Angular and then publishes it out, but it still can be found. We are making it harder for people to find it, but we don't want to commit anything to the repo. Even if it's a public key and people can see it, we still don't want to commit it. So we put it in, say, GitHub Actions or Circle CI secrets, and it creates the config before it builds the project. But people could look through the minified, obfuscated code, and they could find those secret tokens. But they're public, so we don't mind. But if you have a private key, definitely don't put it in the repo. Definitely don't put it in the Angular, React, whatever front-end project you want. It would have to go via a middleware. And it would have to go via a back-end API that might just almost automatically, it's the wrong word, might mostly be a proxy where you just pass it through onto the third-party API that you want to connect to. But when you're passing that request on, it is adding in the headers, the authentication. Like if you're using OAuth, it might add the bearer token in or something like that as a header. I definitely wouldn't do it so that you have it in your UI code if it's a private key. Oh, Andrew has replied as well. Jennifer says, I had to work hard, not work on the computer this weekend. Last week went so well. I was ahead. Awesome, ahead of where you anticipated. It's brilliant. I'm glad you got some rest, Jennifer. I think it's really important. That's why I didn't do a coding stream at the weekend. I was just resting. But I knew this week I have a lot more time to do stuff, so that I wasn't too worried about not doing something on the weekend. API keys are managed on the server, whether you either log into your app, authenticated, for example, Firebase client uses keys and domain names. So you have things like HMAC. So when you log into the server, it sets server-side cookie. Important that the server-side cookie is set to the browser. User cannot fake it. But equally, authentication headers, bearer tokens are valid too. Yeah, so Andrew's had a lot more experience on this, so I think he's highlighted quite a few good points there. Hopefully that answers to say, but definitely don't put anything that's private in your UI. If you're doing OAuth and it gives you a kind of a public token that you store for that particular user, that's fine. But as you deploy out your code, you shouldn't have anything private in there. D-Raj, I wanted to say, Eddie, you look much younger than your age. I think it's having a really good camera. Makes me look better. Although I kind of look a bit, the light might be a bit strong today. I always find because I stream with Andrew, I make it brighter because his lights are quite bright. But today, probably a bit too bright. Tibor, good to have you here. Hope you had a good weekend. You can create a bootable USB of Linux and boot from any USB. That way you can experiment around a lot. You can. It's a little bit slower, I think, with a bootable USB, but it's definitely awesome. I always carry a bootable Linux USB with me. Therefore, if someone's computer's like busted, you can just boot onto that, grab the files that they need, and kind of sort it. Jose, a proxy. Thanks for the response. No problem. Yes, you could do it as a proxy. So with one of the third parties we're doing at the moment, I have an API endpoint at the back that you have to be authenticated from our UI, in terms of our authentication system. But when the UI makes a request to the third party, it comes via our API, and it always adds the header with their secret keys on it, because their secret keys are for server side only; they're not for the UI, and that works quite well. Andrew, yeah, I'm aware of HMAC. Excuse me. A lot of people don't. I haven't seen anyone who uses HMAC, which is quite interesting. Could you encrypt a key, then hash it with HMAC SHA-1, for example, so that even if the middleman gets it, they can't decrypt it? But if you SHA it, only goes one way, right? So you'd have to do the same on the server to check it's the same. I think, yeah, HMAC is more for server-to-server comms. If you're using a Mac on the client, then it would be a header token, and any header tokens must be short-lived, 15 minutes, then you refresh. That's true, yes, because with the third parties a lot that we integrate with, we do it so 1 minute before the end of the time expires, we automatically go and get a new token. We must block. On most third parties, we actually have to block any more requests going out on the server, because when we get the new refreshed token from them, any requests going over to them with the old token, so say the refresh token takes 2 seconds. In that 2-second time, our server might proxy through various calls to the third party, but they will all have the old token. So when we get the new token, then all those calls that are going through would get rejected by the third party. Places like GitHub, they allow the old tokens, I think, to work for an extra 5 minutes. I can't remember what exactly the time is, but I think that's really important. Therefore, you don't have to do anything clever, because at the moment now we need to block when we're going to make a refresh, any new requests coming in, we have to block and hold until the refresh completes and update those requests with the new token and then pass it on to the third party, which is really dirty and awful. So yeah, I think a lot of places that do it properly, there's a certain amount of time, 1 minute or 5 minutes, where the old tokens can still get used, and that just makes it a lot more sensible. So, but it depends where you're going, but yeah, each third party is different, and which is really annoying. We're using open banking at the moment with some of our clients, and even though there's an open banking standards, each bank still implements it ever so slightly differently, and it's kind of a bit painful. But it's part and parcel of fun of what we do, right? We love solving problems. As developers, we love solving technical coding problems. As designers, we love to solve, where to best place the data, accessibility. If you're into the UX side, how to make it best for the user. I think a lot of places can always have continuous improvements on all of these areas, be it technical or non-technical. So I think it's important. And that's where having a diverse, mixed team is really important, because you get all the different areas, right? As one person, or even as 5 people in one particular discipline, we can't focus on everything, right? We get pulled to certain areas that require our attention more. Whereas if you have people with different skills in your team, then they will get pulled to their area that needs their attention, and therefore you can become a lot better as a team. So you are focusing on accessibility, UX, performance, pen testing, all those sorts of good things. So it's really good to have a mix of people. Absolutely. A security, Tibor, no problem for the mention. Good to have you here. A security team would also say that even the refresh has a maximum timeout, and you can use a refresh for 8 hours. But you should log in again. Yes, that's true. So some places are quite strict. I know my online banking boots me out after like 15 minutes, and it's that's it. I have to log in again and go through all their kind of 101 different passwords, picking out character 1, 3, and 5 or whatever it is. And some places, some places like GitHub and Facebook just keep you logged in indefinitely. So every day when I log into look at those places, so not log in, when I browse to those places, I'm still logged in. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Andrew's going into more details about the cookies and so forth and third parties. Yeah, the problems are great. CSS problems are worse. Yeah, I think, that's why it's good to have a mix of people in your team, because if you've got someone who focuses on the front end, they can focus then on the CSS, the browser issues, the IE issues, whatever it is. And then if you've got some security issues, you can have someone who focuses on those. I think we have so many challenges. The team as a whole has so many challenges, be it the pen testing department isn't happy, being the client, might have some suggestions. Because everyone thinks they're a designer, right? And I think no matter what good design and UX that part of the team comes up with, someone always has an opinion, but their opinion is probably more biased to them, whereas the designer and the UX person has gone through training and they understand how to make it best for the majority of people rather than a particular preference. And I actually have some stories to tell you about this. Maybe in a few weeks. The wound is a bit sore at the moment still with a client I had recently where they wanted to do something that didn't make sense, and all the user testing and the A/B testing and everything pointed that it was a stupid idea and no one wanted it. But the client themselves, who signed the checks, loved the idea and really wanted it in there. But everyone, in the team, out of the team, the actual users didn't want it. And not only was a terrible experience, it required a lot more development work each time because it didn't make development sense. It's not how frameworks are built to use. So yes, that was quite painful, and I'd like to go into a bit more detail into that and get your opinion and see what you think in the near future. But yeah, they didn't listen, and we did it their way because they're signing the checks, they're paying the bills, they're paying for the project bills, so we had to do it their way. They got the last say, but it really didn't make no sense. And then I think after a while they actually realized it didn't make sense, but they were so heavily invested financially into it that they had to continue with it. You got to cut your losses, I think, but that's a discussion for another time. Let me see whether I missed on the chat. Ben, hey, good to have you here. How you doing? We're already halfway through the lunchtime stream. I can't believe we're already almost 30 minutes in. I do have to finish a couple of minutes early for a call I have at 2 o'clock with potentially a new client. So I'll apologise if I need to finish just a bit before 2. But we'll keep it short and sweet. But good to have you here. I love it how the community all welcome each other. It's awesome. We do have a really tight community. And actually, I didn't publish this stream on any social media, apart from obviously YouTube where it publishes itself, but on Twitter or Instagram or LinkedIn, etc. I wanted on Monday to be a bit more focused and not have too many kind of distractions. And I think it has been quite focused. We have had some good discussions already, and I love it that other people in the chat are answering, giving their opinion, because it's important. Like I said, I'm here to maybe facilitate and start the conversation. I do not believe I have all the answers, and that's where the community comes in and people can give their different opinions, different experiences, and they all have different backgrounds, from age, from location, from different technologies, different experiences, changing careers. So I think that's really, really important. Andrew has twigged what I was talking about. Sidebar driven development. Yes, Andrew and me will jump on a lunchtime stream one day and tell you about that story. That is how to throw away 10 times your money, piss off your users, and piss off the entire team. Like, seriously, it doesn't make sense. No one wants it, no one's happy with it, and it costs you like 10 times more. I mean, it's just like stupid. So what have I missed in the chat? Let me see. Yes, but GitHub, etc. keep you logged in And for admin tasks, they ask for your password. That's true, you're right. For any admin tasks, they do ask you for your password again. That's a good point. And I suppose it is nice user experience. So if you lock your computer, if you leave it open, anyone can come along and I suppose see stuff, then maybe not so good in like an open plan office. Eddie, show us some open source repositories. Haven't done that in a while. Yeah, we can do that, definitely. Actually, I've got some pull requests on EddieBot waiting to be reviewed from people here in the chat, so that we can have a look at that and see. Let's have a look. I believe I created SSH key in settings. They asked for a password. Let's have a look. Did I miss anything in the chat? Let's have a look. Okay. I should be able to do this. I don't think Andrew's broken this, although he breaks everything else. So if I create a browser, go to GitHub, then let's have a look. If I bring the chat over here so I can still see the chat, so I don't miss what is happening. If I make this full screen and I make it bigger, so hopefully everyone can see my screen now. I'm in the corner. Cool. Okay. So this is my GitHub. If you don't follow me on GitHub, shout out to my GitHub and my other socials along the bottom, as you can already see. But if you don't follow me, then yeah, follow me on GitHub and you can see all the awesome open source work I'm doing. Oh, you can see, right? Look at my little, not settings, but if you see here, today I did 2 contributions. But if you look yesterday, did none. Oh my God, 3-day streak of no open source contributions. Ouch. That's really bad of me. Okay, but you know, like we said, we all need rest. My goal this year is to kind of get, I think, to 4,000 contributions a year. So it's a rolling window. So these will start dropping off. So from tomorrow, nothing will drop off because there's nothing on that day, you know, a year ago. But then 2 contributions. When it comes to this dark green bit, I'll start losing like 36 contributions. So little and often. Eddie, an idea for next time. I really want to see a team work together, especially the junction between front end and back end and how they merge them together. Merge them too. Really something I don't understand. Yeah, we can do that. How is best to show you that? I think it'd be good for, I was going to say for, you know, a few of us to live stream a hackathon together and see how that all works. But obviously we need a hackathon and some other things. But you know, we get 2 of us and we could work. I could find somebody who does front end and I could build a back end for them or vice versa. And we could do something like that. And you could see how we do little and often and you agree the contract in the middle and then you kind of work towards the front and you work towards the back because you need to agree that contract. What do I usually contribute on, Ben? Good question. Whatever comes up, really. I have my own project, so we're going to look at EddieBot, which is down here somewhere. There's some pull requests open for me to review, 2 pull requests. But from Mike and Bolt, they are in the Discord channel. So I contribute to whatever comes up. So, for example, this morning I made a contribution to Svelte. I don't know anything about the framework, but when I was reading their documentation, I thought I could make an improvement to that. So as I just look through my project or friends' projects, I see improvements that I can make, and I just make improvements. Me and Andrew can work together. Yeah, we could work together, and he could do some stuff like that. How we discuss it all and agree it. We could do that. We could do like a, I don't know, Angular and Express app or something like that. Yeah, I think that'd be quite good. What do you think, Andrew? We're working on how we can do that streaming. It's what he was so keen to sort out this morning, ended up being late. Yes, exactly. So I want to get Andrew's desktop into my stream, so we're just working on that at the moment. But I want it at a high quality. Yes, you can do kind of a Google Hangout, but the quality isn't great, so I want it to be good quality. So let's have a look at what we've got here. So I always start off with the oldest pull request. So you can see this is lower down, number 29. It's the bottom of the list. And it's from Mike. And Mike has changed, run the project locally on Mac and Ubuntu using the command below. And he's changed it to be Linux, which makes sense because the command will be the same for both. So thank you. Thank you for the improvement. Thumbs up. Approve. Let's get that merged in. And this might cause a conflict on on the next pull request. But if it does, we'll figure it out. So I'm just going to do my usual commit. We don't have a ticket for this, but we'll just say it's, is there a docs one? Docs, and it's for the README. I'll probably just, quick start. Keep it so I can group things together. Quick start, and I usually have things lowercase, I think, so I know my computer just auto-completed that, but let's start that there. Docs, quick start, changed from Ubuntu to Linux. There we go. Let's merge that in. Awesome. So that's one pull request gone in. And then let's see what has changed on this one by Bolt. So Bolt has made another change, but it hasn't been in the same line, so it hasn't caused a conflict, which is really good. This is why small pull requests are really important. Please keep your pull requests small. It's easier for the maintainer to merge a one-line change than it is to merge a 30-line change. So it looks good. So we've got Discord requirements. You need Node version 10 plus, and you need a Discord token. And he's put a full stop to get one or more for these instructions. This is a link. These instructions will appear as a link, and it will be here creating your bot. So it looks good. I might not have put a full stop in there, but it's not the end of the world. Thank you for the improvement. Let's give it a thumbs up. And let's approve. Head back to here and let's squash that in. Oh, he's done that already, so awesome. So his commit was following the same standard. README, I'll probably say requirements, add link. Add we can see from the commit quite obviously, so I don't like the word kind of add, updated, delete in this. Link to help getting a Discord token. Sounds good. Probably should leave 30 on there, but that's also fine. Done. So now there's no more pull requests. Do we have any? We have some issues. I wonder if these are just ideas. Okay, perfect. There's no none for that pull request. So now we have got some more improvements. Let's have a look. Just working on the game. Just work on the game platform. We can work on the game platform, but because we're using Firebase, it doesn't have a true backend. It's quite interesting the way Firebase works. But I do really like the real-time part of Firebase. I think it's really interesting. Andrew, that's okay, but I'd like to see something from scratch. From the beginning of the project. Yeah, we can do a few different things. Definitely. We can do a few different projects. Andy and me are going to live stream a lot more now. So, by the way, everyone watching, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Really helps the channel. And don't forget to invite some friends as well if you think they might be interested. And most importantly, what am I going to say next? Don't forget to contribute to open source. So if you want to practice, feel free to make a contribution to EddieBot. I'll put a link in the chat, and you can all have a look and see if you want to make any contributions. I do have a project board with things that I'm working on. So if again at the bottom, it's just the version 0.1. Setting up hosting on GCP is what I'm working on at the moment with CI and CD. So I'm working on those two combined. I do have some issues with those at the moment. Andrew, do you want to help me with those? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. And then also I want to get some stats for users, right? How many messages do they write in total? So not save the messages, but how many messages do they send? How many what they call like thumbs up, thumbs down do they give? And those sorts of things. I want to see that I can give out badges from Discord. Discord has the roles, so I want people to get kind of different roles of like supporter or chatterbox, as we discussed, and so forth. And yes, Diraj, your bot does not count of writing lots of messages. So I'm interested to know what you use to write that bot. I think you wrote it with Python, and did you say Selenium, which I find interesting? I'm guessing you can log into Discord from the browser and then do it that way. But let us know in the chat. I'd be quite interested to know how you achieved that. It's really interesting how people can use different technologies to solve a similar problem. And so I've used their Discord's API, but you can do it different ways. So that's quite interesting. But yeah, I do want to work a bit more on this. This is a bot that I don't want to necessarily get to production like in the next week, but it's something I'd like to add value, like start collecting data in over this week as Discord gets a bit busier, and then people can do like exclamation mark stats or something, and that way they can see, I guess, their stats and so forth. So yeah, that'd be quite interesting to see. I want to start saving stuff into the database as well. So count user messages. I think I've done that already, but I probably need to bring this up and start saving it in the database first, and then put some restrictions. And there's various ways I could do these restrictions. It's probably when I'll have a discussion with you all to see what you think is best. But yes, I could store the date from that user. But I wonder if I could do something clever with RxJS, because it could also filter, debounce, and do sorts of things like that. So could be interesting to see. RxJS is awesome. It probably takes about 8 hours to get the core parts of a project in place normally at this point in time, like the video now. Yes, Python and Selenium. So, okay, that's awesome. I think that's really cool to know that you've solved or achieved the same thing that I did, but did it in a different way. So I think that's quite interesting. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Very good to use your existing skills. I think that's really important. Yeah, probably like 1 to 2 days, get the kind of steel thread that we've always talked about set up. And then kind of once you've got that steel thread set up from hello world to being deployed out, then you can kind of add more, I don't know if the expression is more meat or higher fidelity. I do prefer the fidelity comment, but not everyone kind of gets that. But to increase the fidelity on your code, add more features, do the same to CIs, do the same to deployments, whatever you need. So I think it's really important to do that, and not try and have it really high fidelity at the beginning of your pipeline, and then your CI doesn't build, doesn't know what to do, and you can't deploy it because you haven't done any of that yet. You've got to spend like a week setting up your CI/CD script so you can deploy it. Whereas each time you add a new feature, say for example, let's come up with a concrete example. Let's say you've got hello world, just static text on the page, and your CI can build that, and it can also deploy it to your hosting environment. But when you add a database, now your production environment will need a database, so your dev environment, you might need to run migrations, depending if you're using SQL or NoSQL. But my point is, when you add that new feature to your app, then when you come to CI, you just add that extra kind of support the feature needs, same with CD, and same with whatever you need. And then later on, if you add a caching layer, then again, you do the same. Locally, you might have a caching layer. It might just be the file disk, the file disk system. But when you go to CI, you might include memcache or whatever you're using, and you just keep adding along your pipeline, adding more fidelity as you need it, rather than trying to do everything big bang. And it worries me when people say, "Oh, we need 3 months to write tests. Oh, we need a month to deploy this." It's like, no, nothing should have been done. No feature should have been added until it's been kind of gone all the way across the pipeline. I probably explained that really badly, but hopefully you get what I mean. I've spoken about this before, and I think that's important. Rodrigo, good to have you here. How you doing? Good weekend? Do I need to own Discord server to install and try EdiBot? You need a token for the Discord server. So yes, you probably need to own it. Or, I mean, what we could do actually is I could create a kind of like a debug Discord server, and I could share the token with people. Other people could use it, and just people joining that server know that it might get spammed with a lot of stuff. I obviously don't want Discord to ban me if I created that server. We could try different things and see. But yeah, if you create a Discord server for yourself, you can get a token, and then you can try things that way. Interesting thing to look into. But yes, if I share my screen again and go back to the docs in the EdiBot, it does say that, here you go. So you do need a Discord token. Okay, that's the variable name that you would need. So this bit on the right, you would need to change to get. Well, I just noticed another issue here in the README. The set should be in the code block. Does anyone want to contribute to open source today? About 10 minutes left on this live stream. Let me know if you want to contribute to it. Write in the chat that you want to make the contribution. Write open source in the chat, and raise the pull request. And if you need any help, I can walk you through it. But yeah, the set is part of the command, so that actually should be in there. So on Windows, and then also as part of that, this part down here isn't in a code block. So to be consistent, We've got the npm install here. We've also got this command here as well. So these are two commands you need to run on Windows, but the code block is in the wrong place. So who wants to do that? Hopefully, Rodrigo, that answers your question about being able to run it. You do need to have a token to that server. Well, I think chunk up 8 times 1 hour stream, set up a project on GitHub, set UI up, Cucumber UI test, add CI, CD, and some changes, clean up. Yep. Could be a good series, a lot of work to do that, but I think is to chop it up, edit it, because you'd want to make the live streams really, when you do them as videos, you want them to be really concise, is the thing. What's the question? I lost it. It's quite straightforward. I think there is a link now. I just merged a pull request in with a link. So to get a Discord token, follow these instructions. Here is the link. So in the README, it shows you how to get the how to add the bot and then get a token for the bot. So you can say copy token down here. That's probably really small for everyone to see. So yes, you can then click copy token and then you pass it in and you can do it. But keep your token private, don't commit it to the repo. But the link is here if you want to get to those documentation. Oh, excuse me. But I will be doing an EduBot stream this week where I'm going to work on it, add some features. And so if anyone wants to pair on that, get involved, let me know. And did anyone want to own this? Should I make this change then? If no one wants to make this, I can make this change. I can actually just do it here in the browser. And so can you as well. Hit edit. I come down to here. I just need to delete this and then do that and do that. There you go. So if I preview the changes, that's the open source changes. It looks a bit better now with the commands. So I can say, I'll commit it straight to master. But if you were creating a pull request, you commit it to your branch and fork. And in the GitHub UI, it would take care of this all for you. So I would just say docs. And I would say, I don't know, quick start again probably. And then say something like improved code blocks, inline code blocks. There we go. Jennifer says I'm on my phone. Oh no, sorry Jennifer. Don't worry, there'll be lots more open source contributions you can do. I think you do a lot of contributions anyway. But yes, I'm always welcoming more. I'm sure there's other improvements that can be made to this, like the V10 could be in an inline code block as well too, stuff like that, just to make it easier for the user to read. And then clone the project or fork. I mean fork because it's a term, I suppose. A clone and fork could be in bold or could be in italic. Again, just need to be consistent, I guess, through the. Or we could also put the clone commands in here, so we could add more, right? If you want to contribute to open source, I guess everyone watching, if they want to contribute to open source, there are so many ways you can do it. Clone the project or fork it. This just makes, it makes sense to us because we know what we're doing, but you could always, 1, 2, 3, you could always add more where it's like you can give the command git clone and you could say, I don't know, URL or something like that to show people what it is. I won't commit this, but just to give you an example, again, it just becomes more helpful. And that's why I love people who are new to a project to get them to go through the docs and see what helps and what doesn't, because then that way they pick up so many things that are assumptions that have been made. So yeah, on any project you will find it. I mean, if we pick any particular project, you will find improvements that can be made. And when I look back at my projects, so if I pick, I don't know, for example, my Dashboard Hub pipeline where I've had loads of people working on it, you can see I've got 18 contributors, over 2,000 commits. But I'm sure when we come down to here, there are so many improvements that can be made. I've got the V10 in code blocks, which is nice, but I'm sure there are so many improvements that can be made and suggestions. Yeah, I won't go through it now, but looking at it, I'm sure there's plenty of things. I do need to get back into this project as well and make lots of improvements, lots of ideas that I can think about adding to this project. I think some people have checked it out already, had a look at it. This is a real-time dashboard for your GitHub project, trying to show you, the heartbeat of your project is the goal, and it can ping servers. So it got pings, how many pings it's actually taken. So there's a lot of things. We've got 120 projects and 66 users. So I still need to add more to these. Am I logged in? Oh, I am logged in. Can I show you a project? Let's have a look. This is kind of what it looks like. So if I look at my open source project, my open sourceness is at a rating of 50%, and it's just kind of an improvement. And these are the kind of contributors who have contributed to it. Pull requests outstanding. And events that have happened on this project. People have started watching it and all the rest. So this is what I kind of want to bring to light with this project. And I also want it so you can have multiple repos, because a project doesn't always consist of one repo, right? It consists of multiple. So you might have a front end and back end as we've discussed. So that's the plan on it. There's still lots more work I need to do on it. I've learned a lot since I've done this to make it less jump around, I suppose, because as I navigate, it does jump and bounce around a bit, and I do want to remove that. So Andrew and me were talking about using resolves in Angular, which we do like using, but being real-time data, do you need it and all the rest? I still think you do. So there's things like that to discuss. So we're coming to an end. Is there anything else? We've got a few minutes to go. Anyone else, anything else anyone else would like to add? Let us know what your plans are for the rest of the day, or for tomorrow, if it's already the end of the day for you, and then we can just continue discussion tomorrow lunchtime, same time, same place. And hopefully I will have some more successes and challenges that I've come up with myself as well. You know, I love sharing my transparency, and I want to share more about the work I do with my clients. And, you know, if it helps, let me know what more details you'd like to see. Obviously, some of my clients want to keep their work private, and that's fine. But if I can share how I get clients, I always talk about your personal brand, open source. Network is really important. So if I can help with that, let me know however I can help. Or someone in the chat can also help if I don't have the answer. And I'm always keen to start the conversation and get people chatting and seeing. But as always, this hour has gone so fast. But you know, I love we saw a couple of new people, and I loved that we saw the usual suspects, and it's really good. And we can continue the conversation in Discord afterwards. Well, I'm in a meeting straight after this, but I will write back shortly afterwards. So don't forget to join the Discord, and we continue the conversation between streams. But there will be more streams this week. I plan to do some probably in the morning to help people east of the UK, and I do plan to do some streams in the evening to help people west of the UK, so they don't have to get up even earlier. Although I did see a message in Discord from Jennifer this morning that I think was about kind of 7:30 UK time, so it must have been about, I'm guessing, like midnight your time. So it's interesting how when kind of I'm getting up, I see people kind of going to bed, and well, I don't see them going to bed, that'd be weird, but kind of see them kind of typing and saying, I'll chat to you all tomorrow. So an early morning stream might also work for different time zones. We have to try and see. We'll try some out. I will plan some. I'll do some impromptu as well when I feel like doing some coding, which is a lot of the time. But when I feel like doing that, I might just hit live, go live, do a stream. So we will see. But awesome to have you here. Thank you, everyone. You know, Jose, Tibor, Jennifer, Rodrigo, Diraj, Andrew. I'm going to forget some people. Ben. If I forget people, just say hi in the chat or bye in the chat, and I'll remember to give your name a shout out. But thank you all so much for joining this live stream. This live stream only works because you're all here and you all share. I think that's the difference between like watching TV, is you can't get involved in the conversation. And that's why I love live streaming, because we can have that conversation between myself and yourself, but also between people in the chat as well. And I think that's really important. So I do need to go get ready for this client meeting. It's the first one I have with them, so I don't want to be late. I'm going to make a good impression, right? And we will chat more. There will be more live streams and more videos coming soon. I love the global syncing. Yeah, I don't know when the best time is. I thought 1 till 2 would be a really good time, but it is really early for you and really late for other people. So maybe that isn't the best time. Well, we'll try different things. I will try different times of the day and see what works. Maybe there isn't the best time. Maybe I just need to do more coding, more live streaming, and more videos. We will see. Everyone, have an awesome day. morning, lunch, evening, wherever you are. And apologies for finishing a few minutes early or 5 minutes early, but I'm sure you understand that I need to go join the Zoom call and speak to the client and be ready. And yeah, I want to be ready for that call. I'll read their notes that they've made in the invite as well, make sure I'm ready. Everyone have an awesome day, and I'll chat to you and see you all soon. Eddie out. Don't forget, contribute to open source, of course.